Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be replacing the driver's side motor mount in this 2015 Dodge Dart GT. The reason it needs to be replaced is one, has 125,000 miles on it. Number two, for the last little bit I've just been lazy going about it. Whenever it's in drive or reverse, the car rattles pretty bad. So that's what's leading me to believe that it's going to be the motor mount. Now, the one on the driver's side is more of a transmission mount, you can call it. That's the one that usually is more violent and needs to be replaced. The engine mount, actual engine mount, is on the passenger side. I will be making a video about that as well. Find the link in the description later when that video comes out if you need that. But for today, we're focusing on the driver's side transmission motor mount. So there's several things we need to get out of the way to get to this mount. We need to get this engine cover out of the way. It's going to be different for a couple of the models, but for mine, it's going to be 4 bolts there and it comes out. Next, we need to get rid of this side battery tray, get rid of the bottom battery box, the battery, and the fuse box, and get it out of the way. And at that point, we should be able to get to the motor mount as far as I can tell. So let's get going. One, 2, 3, 4, and off. Alright, the next thing we need to do is get the battery disconnected. First the negative, and then next is the positive, and that bolt is going to be right here on the end. Now mine may not look quite the same as yours. I have I think it's a 2-gauge wire for an amp going in the back. So yours should just lift out of the way. But for me, I need to get this wire out of the way, and then we can get that up. Okay, I got my amp disconnected. Now we just lift up. And there we go. Alright, now the battery is officially disconnected. We need to come down here, and that bolt right there, we need to remove. It's a 10mm, and that clamp right there will come out and the battery will come out. And there we go. Oh. Now that the battery's removed, the next thing we need to do is remove this side battery box. There's going to be 3 10mm bolts. There's one right here, one right here, and one right back here. And also this ground we need to remove. And then the other thing we need to do is remove these electrical connectors. Now, I have an issue with these. Last time I did a project, it was replacing the thermostat housing. These weren't wanting to lift up, so a couple of the plastic pieces here broke. So I really need 2 hands, but the way it works is you lift this up, and as it lifts up, it uses these little gears to push the connector down inside, and then it just comes out. Mine wasn't really doing that. It was stuck last time. So it's going to be quite the kerfuffle to get it. But just work it nice and slow. There we go. Okay. I don't know if y'all could see that. It kind of loosened as I did it. And there we go. Blue one's out. That one wasn't too bad. This one, it kicks out at the bottom and the top for me, so that one's going to be a real change. Oh, and there we go. Just broke some more stuff. Yay. Hopefully we get some drop. Just do your best with what you can. Oh, come on. Wow. Okay. So if you look at this, just being that hot next to the engine caused the plastic components to break. So now it looks like I need to get a flathead and kind of hammer down there. So let me take care of that. Hopefully yours goes a lot smoother. Okay, that worked for me. A couple of love taps with a flathead and a hammer downwards pushes that connector down, and it looks like it sticks out here. It sticks out here. So whenever it's time, I can kind of like pull it back up as I need to. So all right, that's out of the way. Next, let's work on the fasteners. One, There's the ground removed. Two. And three. Grab yourself some wire clip pullers, and there's a clip right here we need to get. Go. All right, and oh, excuse me. All right, this guy is out. All right, next thing we need to do is remove the fuse box. Now it's not too difficult. First, we're going to need to remove these two connectors here and this one here because they come back through the box in the bottom here. So let's go ahead and undo that. I think that's a 10 and that's an 8. All right, this nut stays with this connector. These two come off. And just so you don't lose your hardware, always put it back on a few threads. Okay. Now, before we look at the outside of the inside of the box, let's look at the outside. It looks like there's a connector here we need to remove. Let's get up under there. All right, I want to make it clear you can use one of these. There's nothing wrong with it, but I like this one because it can pry against itself. Now, if I remember, yeah, so it looks like over here at the front, there is one to pull out as well. And looking around, that appears to be it. So now let's go inside the box. All right, here we are in the fuse box. So a couple of more wire connectors. This one here is on the inside. Let's remove that. That loosens up these that we pulled out from right here. Let's see here. There is a connector down in the bottom here. All right. So this guy here was also in there. You don't need to unplug it. You just need to pull it out. There's two connectors here. And yeah. And then this will just pop out on its own after we unfasten it. All right. To get the battery box out, there is a fastener right down here. One right here. And then this one right here, you don't actually have to undo all the way. The box slides into it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Take out this one. These are all 10mm, by the way. One. All right, that one. This one back here removes pretty easy. All right, that's halfway off. If you're able to get a socket on there, that's fine. If not, literally just unscrew it with a wrench and then just undo it by hand. Alright, there's number 3 there. And assuming everything's good here, this should just lift out now. Yes, okay. Pull that direction to loosen it. Lift up your wires, and there we go. Fuse box is out. Alright, everyone. After getting the fuse box removed, I got the wires bungeed up out of the way. And then off camera, I was assessing exactly how to remove this battery box. It seems like there's just 2 fasteners holding it in, from what I can tell. Maybe 3, but I was doing some research. One is right here, but the more difficult one, and the one I really don't feel like trying to get to, is back behind over here. There's all kinds of wires in the way. You can try and find it and get, you know, a socket down there, but it's practically impossible. So the correct way to do this is take the wheel off, remove or partially remove the fender liner, and then fastening together the windshield washer fluid reservoir, and this is one bolt, and then there's some electrical connectors like this stuff to pull out, and then the box lifts out. That's a lot of work for one screw, and from what I can tell for this guy, it's only this one, this fastener, and these 3 to pull the motor mount out. Well, I was looking, the main one we're removing this box for is this fastener here. So what I did, you don't have to do this, you can do this the correct way, but if you're okay with a 1 1/4 inch hole saw, which is exactly what I did, I went and drilled out a tiny hole here to get to this motor mount. you're more than welcome to remove the wheel and do all that, but I don't have time for that, and it was just as easy to do this. And I've already mutilated this battery box anyways. If you look here, I did this in a bit of a hurry. You can see I've partially hole sawed this hole. And the reason for that was the transmission cable that this had a recall for, the connector, that was already fixed by the way by the recall, broke. So in order to fit my hand in there and see what I was doing, I partially drilled a hole in that the battery box. Now if I had taken the whole battery box out, I probably would have made that hole bigger. Not a big deal. But yeah, so for me, it wasn't a big deal. Taking a hole saw like this, just a 1 1/4 inch hole saw, maybe a 1 1/2 inch, but 1 1/4 is fine, because what you're really fighting against is the height of this here. But I did go in at an angle to kind of partially cut the side and then go down, and it worked just fine. As you can see, I kind of grazed the mount, but we're replacing it, so not a big deal. But yeah, that's the way I recommend going. I literally saved myself 25 minutes of hassle here to do that. So next, let's get on to the motor mount if you go this route. Alright, after assessing how to access the motor mount, the next thing I've done is take my floor jack and a block of wood and put a slight bit of pressure under the transmission just so that it doesn't drop as we take off and remove the mount, and it will kind of keep it in its place for when we put the new mount in. These front 5 bolts are all going to be 18 millimeters, but the first thing I'm going to do is take a breaker bar and just give them a little crack so that, okay, I'm using a 3/8 breaker bar, 1/2 inch breaker bar, probably a little easier, but okay, that one's loose. There we go. Oh, and now, sorry, bumped y'all. And now that I'm looking at it, there's actually a 10 millimeter we need to loosen real quick. Holding on this coolant pipe here. Oh, that was on there pretty easy. Let's take that off and move it out of the way. All right, next let's crack this one. All right, let's do the back 2 18 millimeters. Let's do this one here first. All right, that wasn't there too bad. And the second one. All right, those were definitely not as tight as the front 3. Okay, and then last but not least, this guy over here is a 13, and you don't have to take it out all the way. It's just resting there, so we can just pop that loose. I think I need a new ratchet. This one isn't working all the time. All right, that's loose enough. There's just a little bit of space there. All right, now I'm just gonna run all these up. Whoa. All right, the car moved a little bit there. Seems like we'll need to pick the engine up. Okay. All right, we picked the engine up a little bit. That one's up. And that one's up as well. All right. Now that we got these 2 out, I just realized something. There's a clip here. You probably would have noticed it before. I was too focused on the bolts, so let's get this guy out. There we go. And that adds just enough slack there to be able to pull that out. All right, we ran all these out. Let's just stick them here. That's 2, and that's 3. All right, now the bolts are out. Let's try and get this out of here in one piece. Well, obviously it's not one piece. All right, pick that up. There we go. All right, guys, I'm back. Just looking around. So, because I decided not to take the battery box out, having issues getting this out, lifting it out. If you took the box out, it should just lift right out. I loosened. See here, there we go. I loosened this fastener here for these grounds, wiggle this around. I went in and took the 13 out that's holding this, just to give this some more room. And then the last thing I did was loosen this connector back here. You just pull this up and it comes out. And now I think I have the room that I need here. So let's give this a shot. Perfect. Yep, that's all the room we needed. So there we go. Wow. All right, here we have both parts. Here's the old part, here's the new part. Surprisingly, because it's really hard to look in there when everything's together. Surprisingly, this mount is not bad for 125,000 miles. It's a little cracked here and there, which means it was probably going to go in a couple years anyways, but like it's still intact and has the same amount of movement as this new one. But Like if I needed to, as a replacement or something, I could throw this back in if I needed, but more than likely not. This is going to be almost separated from this part when you take this out. So I'm going to go and get the new one in. And then, yeah, so it could be the passenger one that's throwing the engine around, being loose. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that, actually. Here's the new one. Let's try and sneak it back in the same way we snuck it out. It's going to be a tight fit. No doubts about that. It's going to be a tight fit. Split in the way. Here we go. Oh, snap it like this. Okay. There we go. Alright, easy as that. Say easy, somewhat easy. Alright, let's set this 13mm back in just so it has its home over here. It's like a guide. It's basically a guiding bolt. Give you an idea where to put it. Here we go. Alright, let's latch that on. Alright, bingo. And just like that, it's in its home. Now, we need to raise the engine back up because we had lowered it a bit. Let's start a couple of these here just to kind of get this seated where... Always hand start these. That one's a little difficult to start by hand, so... Yeah, see, that one's not going that easy, so... Perfect, there we go, it's a little better. Bingo, alright. Alright, that one is going as well. Okay, let's raise the engine up. Alright, engine is raised and it's quite out of alignment, so let's kind of give it a yank. Alright, sometimes what you might need to do is like use a screwdriver, kind of line everything up here. Yeah, I think we'll start like that, and then as you kind of do all that, things will start falling into place here. Alright, there's one. There's two. Alright, that one's going a lot better. Yeah. As you can see, I'm hand twisting that in just fine. That one's a little tight, so maybe I'll take that one back out. Yeah, so undo this one. Yeah, it's a little bit tight. So let's do the back one. Maybe I'll raise it up a little more. Alright, raising it definitely helps. Alright, that one's in by hand. Alright, this last one is a little wonky. So let's try lowering the engine. Woo! And then seeing if things will line up again. There we go. Alright, yeah. Alright. Yeah, kind of lower and raise things as you need to get your holes lined up. Alright, that isn't quite, that one's not quite there. We do not want cross-threading. No cross-threading. I got everything in. I'm not going to run them down with an impact just yet. I want to make sure everything feels okay here. That's still spinning quite nicely. Alright, let's see how this front one feels. Alright, that one feels okay. So no cross-threading there. Which means this last one here should be just fine as well. Alright, that one feels a little stuck. Oh, this last one's going to be the death of me. Looks like it's straight. There it is. Alright, that's in. Okay, I hope so. Might just be a little sticky, but yeah, alright, that's going in just fine. We're not going to tighten them all the way down yet. We need to get everything in. Alright, Now we're going to do these. Alright, let's get this connector back in before something happens to it. Come on. There we go. Alright, there we go. And pull it down to lock. Come on. There we go. Perfect. Now, before that's in, let's put this 13mm back in over here. And everything's in its place because this lines up exactly how it needs to. Alright, let's get these ran in. Alright, now that I have everything in, I'm going to torque these. It's between 65 and 70 foot-pounds. Excuse my hand. Guess I can try and do it somewhere else. There we go. And this 13 is going to be at about 35 foot-pounds, 35 to 40. Okay, there we go. Driver's side remote motor mount is replaced. Now let's start the reassembly process. First, let's do this 10mm here. Let's reattach some of our electrical stuff. First, that connector, and then we'll come up here and reattach this ground if you removed it. There we go. Alright, and next we are going to put the fuse box back in. Alright, now that we have that 10mm back in, let's go ahead and work on the battery box, or the fuse box, sorry. If you put your fasteners back, remove them. Alright, put this in here first. Run these two wires under. Alright, push the fuses down, it'll lock right in. Take this connector, go ahead and push those wire holders back down. Let's get this fastened. Now for the side of the battery box. Next are the electrical connectors. Remember, I broke my green one. Hopefully y'all didn't. Just do your best getting them back on. I'm gonna do my green one first so I have enough room to do everything. Alright, with my hands that was quite easy. Now the blue one. Okay. Last but not least, we have the battery. Alright, let's hook up our positive connections. First one's first. Need to put these guys back on as well. Alright, everything's on. Let's tighten this down. let's secure our battery. Alright, last but not least, before we get our negative hooked up, let's hook up, or let's put the fuse cover back on. Alright everyone, there you go. That's how to change the driver's side motor / transmission mount on a 2.0, 2.4 liter Dart. I don't know if it's the same for the 1.4. You'll have to look that up. If you did it my way of cutting that little hole, I think you're going to find saving yourself a lot of time. If you did it the right way and didn't butcher your oversized battery box, then kudos to you. It's not really something I felt like doing, and it's your car, so do what you want to it. So there we have it. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your time, and always leave a comment. Let me know if there's something I can do better. If you have any questions about anything, like, share for your Dart friends, and don't forget to subscribe. We just hit 200 subscribers. Never thought I'd be to that many. I just wanted to make helpful videos for my fellow car owners, and especially Dart owners out there, because there's less and less of these cars out there, so we need to do what we can to make them last. Alright, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching Trucks, Cars, and your host, Coffee.